What a stupid idea. Who wants a
podcast
at 3 in the morning?
Oh boy, 3 a.m.
Good morning, Mitch.
Good morning, Joey.
Mitch, it's 3 a.m. Do you know what that means?
Does it mean it's time for the podcast?
Yes, that's right, Mitch. It's time for the 3 a.m. podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Joey Notley.
And my name is Mitch Zook.
And welcome to the 3 a.m. podcast, the most convenient podcast at the most
Inconvenient
time.
time.
Why are you doing it? Why did you do it with me?
Because I thought that
No.
it would sound better.
Well, obviously not, because we're talking over each other, and then that just means that we're just interrupting each other, and it's
See, because
conflicting.
I enjoy interrupting you.
That's just
Well, it's just
That's
how
just-
how I feel about things.
interruption.
Yes, I really enjoy interrupting people. It really helps, build my self-confidence.
Oh, I totally understand.
Yeah, I used to be a school
But by that I meant I didn't understand. If you were a school bully, that's awful, Mitch.
Yeah, I used to put sand on kids.
Judging by your laughter right now and how you're trying to hold back laughter proves that is not true. But I'm just going to get back to introducing the podcast. But yes, this is the 3 a.m. podcast, the most convenient podcast at the most inconvenient time. My name is. Did we already say our names?
Yes.
I said Joey Notley and you said Mitch Zook.
We did already introduce ourselves. We can do it again, however.
No, you messed me up. So I just want to make sure that everyone knew who they were listening to.
Well, we can do it a second round for those who weren't listening, even though this is an audio-only podcast. I'm Mitch Zook.
And I'm Joey Notley.
And I'm Joey Notley.
No, you're not. Stop. I like how you asked, like, and I'm Joey Notley? No.
I am not Joey Notley.
You're not. Nice job, Mitch. I'm going to give you a little bit of applause there.
Can I get a little bit of a smooch?
No. I did not I did not kiss Mitch. He just did that straight into the microphone. But I want the record to be known that me and Mitch did not just kiss.
He totally gave me a little smooch.
Okay, so I think the best way to start off the podcast is just to talk about what the 3 a.m. podcast is and what the expectations are. Well, I mean, not the expectations of what it's going to be, because the expectations right now are very low. There aren't any.
There are probably 0 people listening to this podcast, so I think for an opening topic, we should talk about hairy knees.
No, we. So I think that kind of segues into what I was about to say. Not about hairy knees, but just the ridiculousness of what you said. So the 3 a.m. podcast is essentially the podcast itself is kind of undefined at this point. The name and the slogan of the podcast was something I came up with as a joke when I was like hanging out with a group of friends back in sophomore year of college. But now we're seniors and. Now, like you and I have been trying to get the 3 a.m. podcast off the ground for like the last year and a half, but like it's always been something's been in the way. But I think maybe now might be the time where it's going to take off, or not take off, but we'll actually like get to posting it and keeping a schedule. But the podcast itself, originally the name was a joke. But what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I want to say that. Even if you have a really rock solid idea, that a lot of times it can really take a lot of time for stars to align and for the idea to really get engaged and become synthesized to the point where you can get everyone together and work on something. And I just want to make that a little bit of note of inspiration to anyone who's out there trying to get a creative work off the ground, because it does take a lot of time and it can take a lot of resources and people to really get going and get motivated. But I feel like we with this podcast can be a little bit of a motivation for that it's taken us relatively several years to get this off the ground.
No, yeah, and that's so true, and I'm glad you said that, because that's honestly the situation that we found ourselves in trying to do this. But what I was saying, getting back to what I was saying about like the podcast really doesn't have an identity right now. We don't know what it's going to be or what it's going to be. We basically just had the name and we loved it, and we just thought like it had like there's a lot you can use with that name. And two of the things that we came up with was like a comedy podcast. Like, you know, you and I, we joke around all the time. We do these little bits. And sure, that's fun and all, but I feel like if you limit yourself to just comedy, then you're just missing out on other opportunities to do other things, you know, talk about anything else. But then the fact that that it's 3 a.m., it's like, you know, what do people normally do at 3 a.m.? They're always talking about like weird things, and they're getting
Goofing off.
They're goofing off, getting like really deep. It's like you're so tired. You're just sitting there. You're talking about like ridiculous shit, and it's, you know, it can be anything at that point. So I think that's kind of where the 3 a.m. comes in. It's just like it's anything. It's everything and anything.
Yep. So I want to segue into my idea as to how to defeat the winter chill, because it will soon be upon us.
I think I know what you're talking about. But that is a good segue. So I guess we can pretty much start off the episode like that, because, like, you know, it's 3 a.m. Things are weird. So let's get weird. So, Mitch, why don't you introduce everyone to your crazy theory?
So yesterday, we were walking back to Joey's apartment from our video game design class with my friend Adam, and we were talking about how to defeat the winter chill that will soon be upon us. And I decided that through much effort and elaborating on the science of my viewing of the 2003 film How the Grinch Stole Christmas, starring Jim Carrey.
Time out. I'm going to interrupt you first. You said the science that goes behind the 2003 film How the Grinch Stole Christmas, starring Jim Carrey?
Yeah, not the new garbage one with Benedict Cumberbatch, but the classic live action film starring Jim Carrey, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Now, you may be wondering, Mitch, are you going to talk about how they put a jet turbine engine on the bottom of a sleigh? No.
So what you're trying to say is that there is a moment in The Grinch. I have not seen this movie, by the way. So you could probably be making all this shit up, but you're saying there's a moment in The Grinch that you proclaim is the secretly reveals the answer to beating off these cold Chicago winters.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And I would like to emphasize this by giving a quick synopsis of the film and how this theory came about. At the opening of the film, Jim Carrey's Grinch begins the film in a long woolen robe that is brown, and he wears a mask to cover himself from the very, very chill Whoville winter. But after his encounter with Sidney Lou Who, our main protagonist, he goes back to his lair atop Mount Crumpet, where he eats glass. And for the rest of the film, after this point, he no longer needs any protective gear when walking around Whoville in the snow. All he has on the rest of the film is his Santa garb, which I would say is form over function, as it does not include pants. So he walks around pantsless.
So what you're trying to say is that you believe the secret to fighting off the cold is to consume glass. To
Yes.
take bits of glass, put it in your mouth, chew it, and
Digest it and then poop it out.
poop it out. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, that is, Mitch, that is the stupidest thing you have ever... Whose phone was that? Whose phone was that?
It was not mine. I do not ever have the sound on my phone.
My apologies if you heard my phone up in the background.
Yeah, you can tweet at him and call him a dingus.
I'm not the one who thinks that consuming glass is going to prevent me to get...
You can't prove that. You've never eaten glass.
Okay, but I can guarantee... You know what? Yeah. I can guarantee, because there's 7 billion people in the world, that the odds are in my favor with those people that there is someone out there who has consumed glass and is lived and still wears a jacket when it's cold out.
They just probably didn't eat enough glass.
How much glass does he eat in The Grinch?
He consumes roughly 2 glass bottles worth of glass.
Like a beer bottle?
Yeah, I think it was a beer bottle, but I believe that because the film is rated PG, it did not have any labels on it. So I believe the first one was beer, and I think the second one was a whiskey bottle. And he ate them both, and then he gained the magic powers of walking around naked in the frigid Whoville winter.
Now, you're saying that you think that this is 100% possible.
Yes.
You believe that this fictional movie written by...
The documentary.
Documentary?
Yes, dude. It's a documentary recounting the
in
events.
no way, shape, or form is this a documentary. It is a rendition of a children's book.
Which is based on a true story.
What? A true story?
Yes, dude. You think Dr. Seuss, a doctor, made this up all on his own? Doubt.
His name was... That was just his... What's it called? What's the... Like, a fake name? Like, what's that called?
A fake name.
No, okay. What? Yeah, that was just his...
Lies.
That was just his stage name. He wasn't actually a doctor. And if he was, I would... Oh, sorry, I clipped for a second. And if he was a doctor, I don't think he would ever tell his patients to go consume glass.
He doesn't have to. It's contextual. Through textual evidence. And I will grant it to you. The film is not a live action documentary. It's much like an old History Channel documentary where they get reenactors in the field with swords and shields, and they have pickup shots of people fighting while a narrator talks about Vikings. It's much like in that documentary style where Jim Carrey is an actor playing a character called the Grinch, who is a real person who lived in the town of Whoville in the deep crevices of a single snowflake. And he ate glass.
This is by far the stupidest thing you've ever said. Because where do you go from that? Like, do you know what happens when you eat glass?
Yes, you gain magical powers.
No, you don't gain magical powers. You're going to tear up your teeth and your gums and all the insides of your mouth. And as you swallow it, it's just going to rip your throat open.
Well, if that happens, you're clearly not chewing it enough.
Chewing it enough? Like chewing it, like, punching it down to the point where it's like sand?
I could see that being a reasonable way to consume glass.
No, that's ridiculous. You're eating glass.
You could grind it down and just put it in your protein shake after a workout. You gain magical powers and muscle mass.
No, everyone listening right now, we do not advise you to go out and eat glass. This is simply a bit.
I do. I think you need to go out and eat
Mitch,
glass.
no. You tell the audience right now.
For the FCC and people under the age of 18 legally, this is a joke. But
Okay.
you should still eat glass.
No, you should not eat glass. Jesus Christ, Mitch. This is ridiculous. You're probably the dumbest person I've ever met.
Well, you haven't eaten glass.
Have you eaten glass?
I haven't yet because it's not cold enough to eat glass.
What do you mean it's not cold enough to eat glass? Like, just eat it now and then experience the cold, the not cold later.
Well, it is. It's almost September, so it's not that cold.
It's not cold at all. It's actually like 80 degrees out right now.
I'm a bit sweaty.
I am a bit sweaty too.
But we're doing it for the audience.
It's just you're basing. I think the problem is that you don't understand that this is a completely fake story. Like, none of this is supposed to be real, and none of it's supposed to be taken seriously.
I think you should tweet Jim Carrey and tell him that. I think he would be very offended about you coming at his portrayal of the serious and very real historical character, the Grinch.
I don't know. I just don't know what I can say to you to convince you that this is just this is just ridiculous.
If Gary Oldman can be Churchill in Darkest Hour, why can't Jim Carrey be the Grinch? Do you have something against green people, Joey?
No, I don't have anything against green people.
Are you racist towards the greens?
No, no. This is you're trying to put words in my mouth and spin this a completely different direction. This is just ridiculous.
Psh, okay. I just think that you're very bigoted towards the Greens.
I wish to move on from this topic because this is absolutely ridiculous, and I do not. And I'm going to say this upon the 3 a.m. podcast: do not listen to this idiot because eating glass is dangerous for you, and it's no good. So I mean, glass sand is turned into glass, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so
if the documentary film Sweet Home Alabama can be confirmed. The romantic interest of Reese Witherspoon turns sand into glass through electricity. So if we're going to take that documentary at face value, then yes, we must conclude that sand is turned into glass by electricity.
No, oh my God.
The romantic documentary Sweet Home Alabama starring Reese Witherspoon, do you dissuade that as well?
I've never seen either of these movies, and so I can't tell you if Sweet Home Alabama's actually Reese Witherspoon. She's an actor, so therefore this is not a documentary.
It's much in the vein of how the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Oh my God, no! But what I was trying to say is that can't someone just eat? Why eat glass? Can they just eat sand?
I think it requires Poseidon to turn it into glass first.
Poseidon to turn into. So you're telling me in order to beat the wind? The negative 40-degree windshield, I had to eat glass that was made from sand that Poseidon turned into glass?
Through electricity.
Okay.
He
you know
threw a
what?
lightning bolt
At this point, yeah, Mitch, I'm on your side because Poseidon isn't real, and therefore this is all fake, and I can get behind that theory.
Are you coming at polytheistic religion right now?
Can we move?
Are you gonna get the Greens and the polytheists to not listen to this podcast? I'm trying to be as inclusive as possible. Obviously, Poseidon is not real.
Okay, I'm just glad that we're on the same page about that.
Lightning comes down and turns the sand into glass that you then consume through the imbued magical powers of the lightning.
Okay, yeah, whatever, Mitch. Whatever floats your boat, because I don't want to talk about this anymore.
But there is a hole in this theory about how when the Grinch is a baby in the flashback scenes about his love interest in the film, he eats a ceramic plate. But I argue that the ceramic plate that he eats is high in fat content and just for the flavor, and that as he ages and becomes an adult, much like adult humans, that he grew to eat glass for the magical powers in the non-fat meal.
So,
like how adults tend to cut fast food out of their life,
Sure.
The Grinch cut ceramic out of his life.
Now
And replaced it with glass.
I'm trying to question if you saw this theory, quote unquote, on like the internet, and that you're like, oh boy, I gotta tell Joey about this because this is super funny. Or did you actually come up with this thing on your own?
This is 100% watertight theory that me and only Alex Jones have been privy to. He told me this to...
Alex Jones told you nothing.
Alex Jones sent me a message from a burner phone, and he said, Mitchell, you have to tell the people about eating glass. Nuclear winter is coming.
Why does your Joe Rogan impression sound like, who's that character from Futurama?
Richard Nixon.
No, yeah, you said that's Nixon. That's not Joe Rogan. He's like,
It's Alex Jones. That's a flawless Alex Jones impression.
no, it's not. That's probably one of the worst ones I've ever heard.
My Joe Rogan impression sounds like this, dude. Well, let's do DMT and get Joey Diaz on the podcast.
Oh my God.
And then we're going to talk about, like, space. Freaking, what? Jamie, look that up. I forgot Jamie's name.
So wait, this is not something you found on the internet. This is an actual theory that you came up on your own and thought was funny to tell me.
Yes, I didn't think it would be funny to tell you. I thought that you would get me in contact with the right people to maybe get a Nobel Peace Prize.
Why would I have those contacts?
Because you have beautiful hair.
So you're saying only people with beautiful hair get to
win a Nobel Peace Prize.
win a Nobel Peace Prize? Okay. I said Nobel Peace Pies. I talk way too fast.
Delicious and peaceful. I can't believe you just burped right into the mic. I didn't have one.
Okay, I want to move on from this theory. Is there anything else we could talk about besides eating glass? Telling our viewers to eat glass is just stupid.
I resent that claim, but we can move on to a different topic.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mitch.
You're very welcome. I will convince you of this one day.
No, you won't, because this is stupid. I'm not going to...
So, have you seen any new movies lately?
Let me actually think. No, the newest movie... there you go. That was good.
I was really building that one up for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
That was good.
Most people burp away from the mic. Looking at you, Gus Johnson. I am brave, and I burp directly into the mic.
You know what? We'll make sure that he hears that.
Let's tweet at him later.
Okay. Have I seen any movies or new releases?
I want to say both, but
you know what? No.
We've talked a lot about movies from the early 2000s already.
I mean, the newest release I saw was Spider-Man Far From Home, but the newest movie, I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time last week.
What?
Yeah, I know.
You'd never seen Pulp Fiction until last week?
Did you say Poop Fiction?
No, I said Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I've never
instead of Poop Fiction.
I've never seen Pulp Fiction before, but I saw it for the first time. So yeah, that was my newest watch, and then my newest release watch.
Okay, so have you seen the new Quentin Tarantino movie? I have not.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, I have not seen that, but my brother and Adam have, and they said that it shares a lot of similarities to Pulp Fiction.
Not Poop Fiction, Pulp Fiction.
Okay, can we please move on from Poop Fiction?
No.
No, I heard that there was like a lot of similarities to that, because like if you've seen Pulp Fiction, you know how it's like this. It's not about a plot. It's about these characters, and it's about telling stories about these characters, and just it's kind of like out of sequence and out of order. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like what's like.
It's got that similar style that he had in Pulp Fiction, where it's all kind of jumbled. It's not a through plot. It's kind of little sections of the movie.
I can't confirm that.
We're both talking about a movie we've never seen, and we've already dated this podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I can't confirm nor deny that it was out of sequence, but I was told that like it is very plotless. Like, see, this is the problem, that we shouldn't be talking about a movie that we have not seen.
Hateful Eight or Pulp Fiction. Those are some Quentin Tarantino bombs. I love those movies. What's your favorite Quentin Tarantino movie that you've seen?
I think, unfortunately, I think Pulp Fiction is the only one I've ever seen. Name me some other Quentin Tarantino films.
Oh, Lord. Here we go on the spot. There was Hateful Eight, Django Unchained, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Kill Bill Volume 2, Kill Bill. I think there was a third Kill Bill. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Didn't he do Taxi Driver? Taxi?
No, I don't believe he did Taxi Driver. I could be wrong.
Who did Taxi?
Jamie, look that up.
No, the computer's right there. Type in Taxi Driver.
Okay. I want to say that's Scorsese. Can they hear me?
I don't know, but I actually do believe Taxi Driver. I mean, Taxi Driver is a very unique film, and I know the last scene in Taxi Driver is it's Martin Scorsese. So is that what you said?
Boom, got him.
Nice job, dude. That was really good. I don't know why Oh, dude, that's Pulp Fiction did not come out. That's way before Tarantino's time. 1976. Tarantino wasn't even. Was he even alive then? If you Google Pulp Fiction Taxi Driver is a Google search result.
So many people have made the same mistake that Joey just made, probably.
Probably. Wow, that is it's actually kind of embarrassing that I said that.
17 years. For those keeping score at home.
Yeah, but like, I'm more upset with the fact that I was like, oh, Taxi Driver, that came in 1976. I don't even think Tarantino was born in 63. So he was definitely not making movies at the age of, 17? Mitch is pulling up a whole entire list of Quentin Tarantino films.
We have Death Proof, Jackie Brown, From Dusk Till Dawn.
Please don't do this.
True Romance.
Please don't do this.
4 Rooms.
I'm gonna push you out of the way.
Natural Born
All
Killers.
right, get out of here. No, but
I forgot he did Inglourious Bastards. That's a good movie.
Oh,
My favorite though is by far Reservoir Dogs. That's my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. Yeah.
Oh, I have to give that a watch then. But a movie that are we just talking about movies in general at this point? I didn't know what you were trying to segue into, but yeah, dude, a director who directed Baby Driver. That was
Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright. What? Is it really?
Should I go back to the computer?
Yeah, go back to the computer.
We don't want to look like morons on the internet.
It's just Edgar Wright. Never sound so stupid. Edgar Wright. Yeah, it is Edgar Wright. Yeah. So Baby Driver is one of my favorite movies. And yeah, it is Edgar Wright. And I know I'm gonna sound like an idiot for saying this, but Edgar Wright is probably like one of my favorite directors, even though I couldn't remember his name. But I dude, have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
Hot Fuzz is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, he has very little like major releases, like Baby Driver, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, like they're all fantastic movies. I love Edgar Wright stuff, and Baby Driver was one of my favorite movies, and it killed me when my parents saw it for the first time and they came back to me and they're just like, it was all right.
My father, if you're listening to this, you're about to catch a lot of shade. He told me that he did not like John Wick, and I wanted to John Wick his butt right out of a window.
I have not seen John Wick.
It's a pretty good movie, dude. You haven't seen all of the bangers. You haven't seen Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Sweet Home Alabama, or any of the 3 John Wick films.
Yeah, but I also think that you're just... I mean, I feel like just because of the movies you're listing off, just in that direction try to make me look like I've never seen any movies. And you know me, I've seen a lot of movies. I think you're just naming all the wrong ones.
All of the wrong movies. All of the action movies and early 2000s rom-coms.
Do you watch a lot of rom-coms from the early 2000s?
I used to.
What's that one rom-com with Heath Ledger in it?
I haven't seen that one. I know what one you're talking about, but I have not seen that one. My rom-com experience was mainly ones that Adam Sandler are in.
Adam Sandler is the worst, by the way.
I enjoyed his new special, aside from the weird cuts where he's dancing in an alley. those are big sad. Did
you say his new special? Is that what you said?
Yes, he has a new Netflix special.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is infinitely better than any of his new movies, because his new movies are kind of poop fiction.
They're all bad. Like, have you seen Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2?
I did not like those films. I watched Grown Ups 1 when I was like 12, and when you're 12, you don't really have a formed opinion on media, or at least I didn't, and I was like, yeah, it's a funny movie. And then I went back and I watched it years later in college, and I was like, I can't handle that movie.
Do you remember Jack and Jill?
I did not. I avoided that movie for 4 years.
I think I saw that movie in theaters. But I was like a kid, so I was definitely just like, oh, look, Adam Sandler is a girl, you know? That was funny.
Okay, here's the thing though, right? I saw Grown Ups, but the first time I saw the Jack and Jill trailer, I thought it was a joke. And then they made it into a real movie, and I was like, oh no.
What are people?
Oh, Sandman, that's too much.
What do people think about the movie Click?
I think that's a weirdly existential film for Adam Sandler.
You know, is it? Because I know people hate Jack and Jill, but I don't know what people's opinions are on Click, because I know it's a meme. So like, do people actually hate it, or do people actually like enjoy it for like a
I haven't seen this
reason?
movie in
Click?
Probably a decade.
I mean, same.
But the last time I saw it, I remember getting to the end of the movie and being like, oh, this isn't a comedy. He's like trying to say something about life.
I think the idea of Click could actually be like sold, like not sold, sorry. I think like that idea, that a remote that can control life, I feel like if that plot was put in the hands of a different director, that could be like a much better movie.
I completely agree, and I think when you have Adam Sandler as your lead, you're expecting a completely different energy, because even when he does dramatic films like Funny People, which is one of actually my favorite movies as well. Funny People is a great film, and Adam Sandler is one of the leads. But I think that when he is put in control of a piece of media, you're expecting a completely different energy. And I think that you earlier in his career, you can definitely tell. I don't know. See, I have another theory about Adam Sandler films that I feel like right before his death, he's going to come out and be like, oh yeah, all the movies I made after my years on SNL, like all the really like incredibly bad films, on his deathbed, he's going to be like, yeah, I made those all as a joke, and you guys still gave me millions of dollars. You flippin' schmucks.
That would be really awful. But oh my god,
it would be the ultimate Adam Sandler thing to do. Just pocket millions and millions of dollars off stereotypes, and then be like, and I still made millions of dollars. You sheeple.
Oh my god, what?
Oh, Sandman, that's too much,
dude. What are those two early Adam Sandler movies? There's the Happy Gilmore and the Billy Madison. Is that
Mr. Deeds?
No, Billy Madison, right? That's an Adam Sandler movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
there's Mr. Deeds,
and then there was Waterboy.
Waterboy, and Big Daddy. I feel like Big Daddy is the last relatively decent Adam Sandler film.
Agree or disagree? Billy Madison, the Happy Gilmore, and Waterboy. He plays the exact same character, like a speech impediment little man-child.
I fully agree, because I feel like that is... I've never met Adam Sandler in person. I've heard that he is a very upstanding individual, but I feel like that is just a bit of Adam Sandler's personality.
So you think that Adam Sandler in those movies, he's not playing a character, he's just being Adam Sandler?
To a degree. I would think that much like in the opposite form of a method actor, you know how Jared Leto will mail you weird Joker stuff when he's on set, that Adam Sandler just is a bit of a goofball.
I mean, I guess it's just like, it's like the same character, really, like you're gonna get away with that? I don't know. And also, there's also this weird thing that in every Adam Sandler movie, he's always the main character and he's the husband, and he always has like a gorgeous wife in every single movie.
I feel like that's the later films, and I think he's just trying to project this weird Hollywood stereotype.
He wrote those movies, and I imagine this is him in his office, like, all right, I'm going to be the main man, and and Jennifer Aniston is my wife, and everyone just looks at him and they're like, oh, we're going to give him this power to just give himself a hot wife that he gets to kiss in the movie.
And then Al Pacino does a Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
What are you talking about?
That's the only part of Jack and Jill I've ever seen, is that Al Pacino shows up and he calls himself, I believe, Al Cappuccino, and then he does a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, because I believe Jack and Jill is such a cynical film that Adam Sandler is actually isn't he an actual like advertisement director in that film? That's what he plays. And so I believe in one of the scenes of this film is a 4-minute product, very cynical product placement commercial about Dunkin' Donuts, and they get Al Pacino. They drag him out of whatever peaceful Hollywood vista he's in to do this for probably a poop ton of money.
I haven't seen this movie in years, so that's why I was questioning why. Oh my god, I think I kind of remember that, and that's kind of ridiculous. My god, isn't Pixels? Isn't that an Adam Sandler movie with Peter Dinklage? Yeah, that's an Adam Sandler movie, correct?
Yes, because they sent, for some moronic reason in this film, they send a bunch of video game memorabilia off into space, and then the aliens come, and their ships are the video game memorabilia from arcade games in the 80s. And they have to use their knowledge and talent of defeating video game monsters from the 80s to stop an alien invasion. And this just, the more you say it, it sounds very, very dumb. But this was a multi-million-dollar Hollywood production that was greenlit, produced, cast, acted, and released to the public.
What's been a really bad release recently? Isn't there like a really bad movie that just came out?
I could not tell you. I haven't actually gone to a movie theater in over 4 weeks.
That's better than what I have done. I mean, not gonna lie.
I really love going to the movie theater, so this is a very harsh change for me, but I couldn't tell you a big box office bomb recently, but I also I haven't really paid attention to movies that have come out, so I couldn't tell you.
That's fair. That's fair. I forgive you for that.
Oh no, I have been to the movie theater in not 4 weeks, 3 weeks, because I went to go see The Lion King when I was in St. Louis visiting my brother.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a second? What's with all the Disney remakes? We got Lion King, Moana set, Little Mermaid set. We had Aladdin. We had Dumbo.
I'm torqued up for Mulan, dude. That's one of my favorite.
Actually?
That's one of my favorite Disney films.
I mean, knowing you, or if anyone knows Mitch, like you're a very big like history guy, and like Moana is set in a very like what would you say?
I want to say that it is Han China,
but it's like a very what?
It's a lot more grounded, I want to say, than a lot of the other Disney films of that era, because Pocahontas sucks. But
it's the movie set in a very historical moment in time. It's very it's like set in a time of anarchy.
Yeah,
not really.
Yeah, because I think it's either the Mongols or the Huns are invading.
Yeah,
ancient China.
History buff.
I think it's the Huns, which would place it earlier in history. But if it's the Mongols, it's the medieval period.
Yeah, so I can understand if you're actually excited for that, but
No, it's a shameless cash grab, but I'm still gonna go to the theater and watch it. So thanks, Disney.
Yeah, that is a kind of a cash grab. I mean, like, why did they make Dumbo?
I don't know. I didn't go to the theaters to see Dumbo, but my ex-girlfriend took her little sister to go see Dumbo, and they said that it was pretty weird, but pretty good.
What about did people say that The Lion King was did they advertise that movie as the live action Lion King? Did they say that?
I have no idea, and I have no idea how you can prove that it is live action when it's literally 100% CGI.
No, see, I think that's just the people saying that. Like, I don't think they ever advertise it as a live action Lion King. I could be wrong. There could be an advertisement out there that's like a poster or a commercial. It's like live action Lion King, but I don't recall seeing any of that. And let's say that they don't do it, then that's just on us for making that observation that's like, oh, more realistic, and we're doing that. But if they ever said it was a live action, then that's just awful.
It's patently false.
But I heard that the CGI in that movie is just breathtakingly amazing.
There are some shots in that film that look like poop fiction.
Poop fiction?
Yes.
So I'm
bringing it back around.
So you're saying it's bad?
As someone who, as we are both kind of in this industry by sort of force, not because we want to be, but as someone who has done video and stuff like that, it's not on par with $100 million budget or something like that.
I've heard the opposite. I heard that there were some like really realistic scenes, but again, I haven't seen the movie. And why is this always
beautiful? It is. There are beautiful shots, beautiful segments. But watch the cartoon. They do nothing with the story. This is my big complaint with these remakes.
So wait, are you trying to say that the CGI is good, but the story itself is bad? Or like they didn't do anything to adapt?
I'm saying that these remakes, some of them change the story radically to tell a new message.
Really?
And then other remakes of Disney films, especially the classic ones that they know a lot of people are very emotionally attached to, it's the same movie. And it's really, really annoying to me that they do nothing with the characters and they do nothing with the narrative, and they just make an entirely same movie. Yeah,
do they even need to make a script for that movie? Like, did they even have writers for that movie, or they just wrote out the entire Lion King movie and said, all right, this is the movie, like, let's get copies for our voice actors?
Literally, I haven't seen the animated Lion King in probably 15 years, but I did go see a child's musical production of the Lion King.
Oh, because these are all relevant.
And the musical production I saw last year pretty much hit the nail directly on the head of exactly what the plot of this film was. And I just do not think that they changed a single thing.
I can neither confirm nor deny that, but again, I'm just a person who's just listening to your complaints, because that's usually what it is. It's just me listening to you complain about things that I don't understand.
Welcome to the 3 a.m. podcast. We complain about pointless movie garbage.
That is usually what we talk about a lot. It's a lot about movies, but I mean, again, I don't think that definitely won't be the conversation for every single podcast, but
Have
it might.
you played any video juegos recently?
Video juegos? No, you can see all my video games right there on that shelf, and the same ones that we talked about last year.
Spider-Man and NHL.
Spider-Man and NHL, the only video games I play on the PS4. Stop kissing me. Stop.
Just give you a little smooch.
All right, well, please stop. And then there's Minecraft, and so those are the only video games. Which is weird. My brother he plays a lot of different video games. Like he'll play PUBG, he'll play Fortnite, he'll play Borderlands, all these different games. But Minecraft is the only game I will play. I mean, when it comes to like playing Black Ops, like I'll get bored in like a week, so I just don't buy it. But Minecraft, I play I'll always come back to it, and I'll play for hours. And it's the only game that I could play.
I definitely see that. I used to play Minecraft a lot back in the day, like back when I was in middle school. So this is like 2010, 2011. However, I see that position, but let's talk about Fortnite, because Fortnite is something that just really boggles my mind.
Why? What do you mean?
Okay, so you have this free-to-play game that is making millions and millions of dollars, and I just do not know how they're doing it. I'm just baffled. It just baffles my mind hole. So I'm going
to say two things about that. One that's in your favor and one that's not out of your favor. The one that's in your favor, that you're baffled. I think Minecraft, I started playing Minecraft in 2009. That's when I first got the game. And if I remember 2009, I was in like 5th grade. That's when like InDev was before Alpha, and I was playing it then. And so I can guarantee when Minecraft was big, when it was like officially released and all these kids are playing it, because that's what it was. It's like it's like when you go to Minecon, there were kids.
Yeah.
Yes. They're children. So I think that now that we're adults and we're looking at all the kids playing Fortnite, I think back when we were kids playing Minecraft that the adults were saying the same thing. So that's where it's in your favor. Like, yeah, how do these games get so popular, make so much money? Like, they're weird games. But second, I don't understand why Fortnite is being played. It's like, I remember people playing it when
Are you talking about like esports? Like why it's an esport?
No. Why people are still playing? No. Why people are still playing it? Because it's the same thing every single time.
They have this. This is me being incredibly cynical, but they have these things called seasons, and I'm doing quotes with my fingers, but they're updating the game in quotes.
They're just like updating the map and adding more items, but like essentially at the end of it, it's just, hey, we're going to drop out of a bus, we're going to kill everyone, and then we're going to restart. Minecraft is just, it's infinite. You can do whatever you want. You can play the game in different hundreds of different ways. It's endless, and that's why I think I'm still playing it today, because of that factor. And now when you're saying like, well, a lot of games are like Fortnite, where it's just like, it's one thing. Like Black Ops, like everyone plays the same game modes and all like that. Not everyone plays Minecraft, which is an endless game. And that's what I'm saying, is that when I played Black Ops, Call of Duty, I would get bored of them like instantly, because it's the same thing. That's why I don't play Black Ops anymore, because I don't like that repetition.
Yeah, I think it's just a gameplay loop thing that really that I haven't really gotten into. I'm more of the type of gamer, I'm doing quotes again, that wants to sit down and enjoy a very, very long, drawn-out experience. Like, I play a lot of strategy games and RPG games.
Like Warhammer and Dungeons & Dragons?
Yes, and those are tabletop games, but when it comes to video games specifically, I play like a lot of Civilization and Total War.
Oh, okay.
So I'm down to sit down for several hours and work 8 hours or 9 hours on one game, not in one sitting, but over a long period of time, to work on one thing, and not jump around. And I think that is I think it's an attention span thing, and I think it's a gameplay loop thing, because a lot of the times those types of games take a long time to get into, and I think Fortnite is easily accessible, and I think that hits on a point of what you were getting onto earlier, is that the target audience is mainly children. But it baffles my mind as someone who's intrigued in game design that it's kind of running like a mobile app, but is still relevant for years, for years almost. I think it's almost been 2 years since Fortnite has been around.
No, dude, it's been much longer than that. Not 2 years. I remember my little brother playing it when I was a freshman in college, and it was out before then.
Well, good golly, because Fortnite, all right, for some history, Fortnite was a game that was originally on Steam like way back in the day, and it was an early access game, and they were like, I don't know, it was completely different from what it is now. But I think the battle royale thing really took off, like you said, in the last 4 years probably.
So why did the battle royale version take off? We had Minecraft Hunger Games, huh? How come that didn't take off, Mitchell?
Probably because by the time Minecraft Hunger Games came around, the people who were covering Minecraft moved on to other things.
Dude, but Minecraft is making a huge comeback right now.
That's 100% PewDiePie. I just want to put that one.
No. It was coming. PewDiePie has pushed it forward, but it was coming back way before. If you were in the community and you're actually playing like I do, you would notice that it was coming back way before PewDiePie did it.
I want to say that there were a lot of Minecraft memes before PewDiePie did it.
Right. No, I think PewDiePie got into it. Sorry. I think PewDiePie got into it because of the renaissance. Is that correct?
Yeah, a renaissance of Minecraft people, and I think that's interesting with our age demographic too, because we're both in our early 20s, and I think that it was people who have reached a point in their lives where they are no longer in school but are adults and have maybe a bit more free time. And I think that they've sat down again to play Minecraft. I think that that's kind of spurred it back on.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I love the game, and I will always love the game. It's probably my it is my favorite video game because I've been playing it since NDev, and I'm still playing it to this day, which is 10 years later. So if a game can do that to me, it's definitely earns the award of best game.
I was about to say my favorite game of all time, completely different genre, but it is the Halo series, the first trilogy. Yeah. I love Halo 2. Come at me, haters, is a masterpiece of a game.
Why would you have haters? I think everyone says that.
A lot of people in the Halo community specifically think that Halo 2 is a bit of a stinker when it comes to the trilogy as a whole, just because of the story.
I've heard nothing like that before. I've heard Halo 2 has always been the best.
There's a lot of people who think Halo 3 is by far the best game, and I think that those people have nostalgia glasses on because a lot of Halo 3 was like a very widely released game.
I think that because Halo 3 was my first Halo game. I think for most people it's everyone's first Halo game, because I think Halo and then Halo 2 was just like the people who owned Xbox at the time, and then once Xbox started taking off even further, everyone got Halo 3.
Yeah, Halo 3 by far had some really great multiplayer.
Oh, absolutely.
But I would say that the first 3 games are by far my most favorite games, and I didn't come to this realization until recently as to why that they're my favorite games of all time, and I think that it's built off of some recent events that have happened in my life where I revisited them and really got deep into all 3 of them and played them all the way through on Legendary, which is the hardest difficulty. So I'm pretty cool.
I'm patting you on the back.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, and I think that they really helped me through a rough time in my life, and that's when as an adult, and that's when I really said that these are probably some of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, they were great games too. Well, would you look at the time, Mitch? It's not 3 a.m. anymore. So you know what that means?
It's time to end the podcast.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening to the first episode of the 3 a.m. podcast. Please stay tuned for the next episode.
Please tell me that you love me.
Stop doing that.
I'm smooching the mic for all of our beautiful listeners.
Please stop smooching the mic. But yeah, thank you for listening. Very much for listening. We have a lot of fun doing this. We don't really have a set schedule. The podcast is always forever growing. We want to have more people on. We want to, make this a community, and I'm doing a really bad job of closing this out, but
well, in short, we love you guys. We really appreciate you listening to us ramble about random stuff, and we hope to listen to you guys again. And
listen to you guys again.
Hope you guys
listen to us again.
Hope you guys listen to us again. And yeah, I just wish you guys luck. Hope you guys are living happy, fulfilling lives. Mwah.
Please stop kissing the microphone. It's really weird. We're gonna have to talk about that. Yeah. I'm gonna cut it now. Okay. Thank you everyone for listening.